They came for me on a Tuesday morning. 2 police officers, a man in a white coat, and my own daughter, standing behind them with tears. She'd practiced in the mirror. "Mom, please don't make this harder than it has to be." I stood in my doorway, still in my nightgown, my natural silver hair uncombed around my shoulders, watching strangers invade the life I'd built, the life I'd earned. As a black woman in America, I'd learned early you have to work twice as hard for half as much. But I'd done it, built something, survived. "I'm not going anywhere," I said. "I'm not sick." The man in the white coat smiled. The kind of smile that doesn't reach the eyes. The kind I'd seen before. The kind that says you don't matter. "Mrs. Lewis, we have a court order. You've been deemed a danger to yourself." A danger. To myself. I'd survived 67 years in a world that didn't always want me to. Raised 2 children. Buried a husband. Built a business from nothing. But apparently, I was the one who needed saving. They took my arms. Gentle, but firm. Like you'd hold a child who doesn't know better. "Rachel," I whispered to my daughter. My light-skinned daughter with her father's eyes. "Rachel, please." She looked away. And that's when I knew. This wasn't about my health. This wasn't about protecting me. This was about money, my bookstore, my freedom. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me tell you how a mother's love can turn into her greatest enemy. And how this old black woman learned to fight back. My name is Margaret Ann Lewis. Margaret, not Maggie. Never Maggie. I was born in 1958 in a small town in Pennsylvania. Back when neighbors knew your name and looked out for each other. Though looking out meant different things depending on what color you were. My parents taught me early. Keep your head down, work hard, be twice as good, maybe then you'll get half as far. They weren't wrong. I married Robert Lewis when I was 22. We met at church, First Baptist on the corner of 5th and Main. He sang in the choir. Had a voice that could make the angels weep. Made my knees weak every Sunday. We had 38 good years together. Not perfect years, good years. The kind where you learn that love isn't about butterflies. It's about choosing each other every morning. Even when the world tries to choose for you. Especially then. We had 2 children. Rachel came first. Beautiful, bright Rachel with her father's green eyes and skin lighter than mine. Light enough that strangers would do double takes when we walked together. Light enough that the world treated her different. She knew it. We never talked about it. But she knew. Then came Michael. Darker like me. Quieter, kinder. He lives in Oregon now with his wife and 2 daughters. He calls every Sunday without fail. Right after church. Just like I taught him. Rachel stopped calling years ago. Robert died 5 years ago this March. Heart attack. Quick. The doctor said he didn't suffer. But I did. The grief was like drowning in an ocean where everyone else could breathe. The church ladies brought casseroles and sympathy. Sweet potato pie, mac and cheese, fried chicken, all the food that's supposed to heal a broken heart. They'd say, "Time heals all wounds." They'd say, "He's with the Lord now." They didn't understand. Time doesn't heal. It just puts distance between you and the pain. And there is no better place than right here, next to me, where he belonged. For months, I sat in our house surrounded by his things. His reading glasses on the nightstand. His coffee mug with the chip on the rim. His flannel shirts still hanging in the closet. The house smelled like him. Old Spice and coffee and hope. Then one day, my grandson Liam found me crying in the kitchen. He was 12 then. All knees and elbows and that gentle heart. That reminded me so much of his grandfather. Light brown skin. Curly hair he was just learning to take care of. We'd spent hours watching YouTube videos about hair care together. "Grandma," he said, taking my hand. His hands were so young. So smooth. "Grandpa wouldn't want you to be sad." "I know, sweetheart. He'd want you to do something that makes you happy." And that's when I remembered. The bookstore. Robert and I had always talked about it. Opening a little shop filled with old books and comfortable chairs. A place where time moved slower. Where people could escape. Where black kids could see themselves in stories. We'd walk past the empty storefront on Maple Street and dream. One day, Robert would say, squeezing my hand, "When we retire." But one day never came for him. So I decided to make it come for me. I used most of our savings. Scared? Terrified. I was 62 years old, starting a business in a dying industry. A black woman with gray hair trying to open a bookstore in a town where people still crossed the street when they saw me coming. Everyone said I was crazy. Everyone except Liam. "I think it's awesome, Grandma," he said, helping me paint the walls sage green. Grandpa would think so too. We opened Pages Past on a Saturday morning in April. I wore Robert's flannel shirt. For luck. And because it still smelled like him. If I closed my eyes and breathed deep enough. 3 people came that first day. 3. Mrs. Henderson from church, young Marcus from down the street, and a white lady who looked surprised when she walked in and saw me behind the counter. But I didn't care. I'd built something mine, something that made me wake up with purpose instead of dread. The bookstore became my sanctuary. Dark wood shelves reaching to the ceiling, the smell of old paper and leather bindings, a reading nook by the window with a view of the street. Pictures on the walls: James Baldwin, Maya Angelou, Langston Hughes, Toni Morrison, faces that looked like mine, words that spoke my truth. Every Saturday, Liam would come by after his soccer practice, still in his muddy cleats, tracking dirt across my clean floors. "Sorry, Grandma." I never minded. He'd help me shelve books. We'd make cocoa with too many marshmallows. He'd tell me about school, about his friends, about the girl he was too nervous to talk to. Those Saturdays were everything. I thought I'd found peace. I thought the hard part of my life was over. Mama used to say, "Baby, don't ever get too comfortable. The devil works hardest when you're happy." I should have listened. Rachel showed up on a Thursday morning in November. I remember because I was arranging a display of vintage cookbooks. The bell above the door chimed. I looked up, expecting a customer. Instead, there was my daughter. She looked expensive. That's the word that came to mind. Expensive. Her coat was cashmere. Her bag had one of those designer logos that cost more than my mortgage payment. Her hair was professionally straightened. Honey blonde highlights catching the light. She'd been getting them done since college. Since she realized she could pass for something other than what she was. I never said anything. It was her hair, her choice. But it hurt, watching my daughter erase parts of herself. Her eyes were tired though. And there was something else there. Something desperate hiding behind the expensive sunglasses. "Rachel." I set down the book I was holding. "This is a surprise." "Hi, Mom." She kissed my cheek. Cold, quick, perfume I didn't recognize. Something French and floral that didn't smell like home. I was in the neighborhood. Thought I'd stop by. She'd never stopped by before. Not once in the 3 years the store had been open. My bookstore wasn't in her neighborhood. Hadn't been for a long time. Rachel lived in the suburbs now. Big house. Gated community. The kind of place where I needed a code just to visit my own grandson. "It's good to see you," I said, and I meant it. Despite everything. Despite the months between phone calls. Despite the Christmas she spent in Aruba instead of with family. Despite the fact that she'd introduced me as the help once at one of her husband's work parties. She thought I didn't hear. But I did. She was still my daughter. My firstborn. The baby I'd nursed and rocked and prayed over. I'm not sure she could say the same about me. We made small talk. How was business? Fine. How was Liam? Growing like a weed. How was Daniel? Busy with work. Daniel, her white husband, the successful one with the corner office and the yacht club membership. The one who looked at me sometimes like he couldn't quite figure out how his blonde wife came from. This dark-skinned woman with natural hair. The one who'd never once asked me about my life. My history. My parents. As if I'd simply appeared when I gave birth to Rachel. Then she got to the point. "Mom, I've been thinking." She set her expensive bag on my counter. Right on top of a first edition Zora Neale Hurston. I moved it carefully. "You're doing too much. Running this store, maintaining the house. It's a lot for someone your age." Someone my age. I was 67, not 97. And I'd been doing too much my whole life. Black women don't get to rest. We learned that from our mothers, who learned it from theirs. "I manage just fine," I said. "But you shouldn't have to." She pulled out a folder. Thick, official looking, the kind that lawyers use when they want to sound important. "Daniel and I have been talking to a financial advisor about the best way to manage your affairs." Manage my affairs. Like I was already gone. Like I was already in the ground next to Robert. "My affairs are managed, Rachel. I'm not senile." "I didn't say you were." Her voice softened. That voice. The one she used when she wanted something. When she was little, it was for candy. For toys. For things. Now it was for everything I had left. But Mom, planning ahead is smart. What if something happens to you? What if you get sick? Then I'll deal with it. Or, she slid the folder across the counter. You could let me help. Transfer the house and the store into my name. For safekeeping. That way, if anything happens, everything's already sorted. No probate. No legal headaches. Easier. For who? I stared at the folder like it was a snake. You want me to sign over my house and my business. I'm not taking anything, Mom. I'm just holding it for you. It's still yours. This just makes things easier. I opened the folder. My hands were shaking, but I wouldn't let her see. Transfer of property. Transfer of business assets. Power of attorney. Page after page of legal jargon that all said the same thing. Rachel would own everything, control everything, and I'd be left with nothing but the memory of what I'd built. What Robert and I had dreamed. I'd lose everything, I said quietly. Don't be dramatic. You'd still live in the house. Still run the store. Nothing would change, except it would all belong to you. Mom. No. I closed the folder, pushed it back across the counter. My hands were shaking, but my voice was steady. Mama's voice. Strong. Sure, I'm not signing this. Her jaw tightened, just for a second, then the sweet smile returned. But I saw it. That flash of anger. That glimpse of who she really was. Or who she'd become. Just think about it, okay? For me. For Liam. I'm only trying to help. She left without buying a book. Without even looking at the shelves. At the faces on the walls. At the history she'd been running from her whole life. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing that folder. Those documents. The casual way she'd tried to take everything I'd built. Everything Robert and I had dreamed of. While we were still, those black folks on 3rd Street. Maybe I was being paranoid. Maybe she really was trying to help. But my gut told me otherwise. And Mama always said, trust your gut, baby. The Lord speaks through your belly before he speaks through your head. I've learned to. She called 2 weeks later. Mom, I'm having a birthday dinner. Nothing fancy. Just family. Please come. I hesitated. Things had been weird since her visit. But Liam had been texting me. Please come, Grandma. Mom really wants you there. It would mean a lot. How could I say no to that? The party was on a Saturday night. I closed the store early. Wore the navy dress Robert always liked. The one that still fit if I held my breath. Put on the pearl earrings he'd given me for our 20th anniversary. Pressed my hair. Put on lipstick. Fixed myself up. I wanted to make an effort. For Liam. For family. Maybe even for Rachel. Their house was in the suburbs. Big. Modern. All glass and sharp angles. The kind of house that looks stunning in magazines. But feels cold when you're actually in it. The kind of house that said, we made it. Even if making it meant leaving everything behind. Cars lined the street. Mercedes. BMW. Teslas. More than I expected for a small family dinner. I parked my old Honda at the end. It looked out of place. Like me. I rang the doorbell, holding a homemade lemon cake. Rachel's favorite. The recipe her grandmother, my mother, had taught me. 4 generations of black women in that cake. Daniel answered. Rachel's husband. Tall, handsome in that generic country club way. Always smiling, but I'd never seen it reach his eyes. Margaret. So glad you could make it. Come in, come in. He never called me Mom. Or Mrs. Lewis. Just Margaret. Like we were colleagues. Equals. We weren't. The house was packed. Dozens of people I didn't recognize. White faces mostly. Catering staff all brown and black, circulating with champagne and hors d'oeuvres. A photographer in the corner. This wasn't a family dinner. This was an event. A performance. Grandma. Liam appeared, giving me a hug. He smelled like boy and soap and hope. You look nice. What's going on, sweetie? Your mom said this was small. He shrugged. You know Mom. She likes to go big. Rachel found me by the drinks table. She air-kissed both my cheeks. European style. Since when did we do that? Mom, you made it. Here, let me introduce you around. She paraded me through the crowd. Her mother, the owner of the charming little bookstore. The widow who'd started her own business. Wasn't that sweet? I smiled. Shook hands. Felt like a prop in someone else's show. The token black mother to prove something. Dinner was called. We sat at a long table in the dining room. I was placed at the far end, away from Rachel. Away from Liam. Between two of Daniel's colleagues who talked around me, not to me. About stocks and golf and vacation homes. I might as well have been invisible. The food came. Expensive. French names I couldn't pronounce. I barely tasted it. Something was wrong. I could feel it in my bones. The same bones that ached before rain. That knew when danger was coming. Then came dessert. And with it, Rachel stood. She tapped her glass. The room fell silent. Everyone, thank you so much for coming tonight. It means the world to Daniel and me to have all our favorite people here. Applause. Smiles. I wasn't fooled. But tonight isn't just about celebrating another year. It's about celebrating a new chapter for our family. My stomach dropped. My mother has been running herself ragged these past few years. And as much as she's accomplished and we're all so proud of her, it's time for her to rest. To enjoy her golden years. No, 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 no. So tonight, I'm thrilled to announce that Mom has decided to retire. She'll be signing over the bookstore and settling into a well-deserved retirement. The room erupted. Applause. Congratulations. Someone patted my shoulder. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. This wasn't real. This couldn't be happening. Mom? Rachel was looking at me now. Everyone was looking at me. Don't you want to say something? I stood. My legs felt like water. My heart was pounding so loud I thought everyone could hear it. That's not true. The room went quiet. You could hear the ice cubes melting in glasses. I never agreed to retire. I'm not signing anything. Rachel's smile froze, like a mask. Mom, we talked about this. No, Rachel. You talked. I said no. Daniel stood. Margaret, let's not do this here. Do what? Tell the truth? My voice was getting louder. I couldn't stop it. Your wife is lying. I'm not retiring. I'm not giving up my store. The photographer's camera flashed, capturing my moment of defiance. Or humiliation. I couldn't tell which. Rachel's voice dropped. Cold. Sharp. Different from the daughter I raised. Mom, you're confused. We discussed this. You agreed. I did no such thing. You're clearly not thinking straight. Maybe it's the stress. Maybe it's your age. But Daniel and I only want what's best for you. The guests were shifting now. Uncomfortable. Some were whispering. I caught fragments. Dementia. Poor thing. So sad. I looked around at all these strangers. All these white faces who believed Rachel's version. Because it sounded so reasonable. So caring. The concerned daughter. The confused old black woman. Who would believe me? I'm leaving, I said. I didn't say goodbye. Didn't wait for Liam. I just walked out. Drove home with tears blurring the road. Gospel music on the radio. Mahalia Jackson singing about troubles of the world. And when I got home, I sat in Robert's chair. And cried until there was nothing left. 3 days passed. I didn't leave the house. Didn't open the store. Didn't answer the phone. Didn't go to church on Sunday. Sister Williams called. Margaret, you okay? We missed you. I couldn't explain. Couldn't tell her that my own daughter was trying to steal everything. I just sat. And thought. And tried to understand how my own child could do this to me. What had I done wrong? Had I loved her too much? Not enough? Had I failed to protect her from a world that would make her hate where she came from? The knock on the door came on Tuesday evening. Soft. Hesitant. Grandma? It's me, Liam. I opened the door. He stood there looking small and scared and so much older than 14. Can I come in? We sat in the kitchen. I made him hot chocolate out of habit. The way his grandfather liked it. With cinnamon and a little vanilla. He didn't drink it, just wrapped his hands around the mug. Like he was trying to hold onto something warm. Grandma, I need to tell you something. His voice shook. But you can't tell Mom I told you. What is it, sweetheart? He took a breath. I heard them talking, Mom and Dad, late at night when they thought I was asleep. I waited, my heart already knowing what he'd say. They're broke, Grandma. Like, really broke. Dad's business failed. They took out a second mortgage on the house. And now the bank is, I don't know the word. Taking it back? Foreclosure, I whispered. Yeah, that. They need money. A lot of money. And Mom said, he couldn't look at me. Couldn't meet my eyes. Mom said your store is worth enough to save them. The room tilted. The walls closed in. Everything made sense now. The sudden visit. The legal documents. The public announcement designed to pressure me. To shame me into compliance. They wanted to sell my bookstore. The dream Robert and I had built. The sanctuary I'd created from grief. The place where black children could see themselves in stories. They wanted to sell it to save themselves. To keep their big house. And their country club membership and their expensive cars. There's more, Liam said. His voice was breaking. This beautiful boy who looked like my Robert. I heard Mom talking to someone on the phone. She said if you won't sign willingly, they'll find another way. She said something about proving you're not capable of making decisions. My blood went cold, ice in my veins. What do you mean? I think they're going to try to say you're sick in the head, so a judge can make you sign. For a moment, I couldn't speak, couldn't process. My own daughter was planning to have me declared incompetent, to steal everything I had left, to erase me, the way the world had been trying to erase us for generations. Grandma? Liam's eyes were wet, tears tracking down his light brown cheeks. What are we going to do? I took his hands. They were so young, so smooth, not calloused and worn like mine. Like hands that had worked for everything they had. Listen to me, Liam. Whatever happens, you did the right thing telling me. And whatever happens, you keep being exactly who you are. Good, honest, brave. But Mom, your mom is scared. Fear makes people do terrible things. Makes them forget who they are. Makes them forget where they came from. What are you going to do? I didn't know, not yet, but I knew one thing: I wasn't going down without a fight. My ancestors didn't survive for me to just roll over now. I'm going to protect what's mine, I said. And I'm going to document everything. If they try to claim I'm incompetent, I'll prove them wrong. I started that night. I wrote down every conversation with Rachel. Every detail I could remember. Dates, times, witnesses. I called my lawyer, Helen Moore. We'd gone to high school together. One of the few black girls in our graduating class. Now she was one of the best attorneys in the state. Margaret, this is serious, she said after I explained everything. If they file for guardianship, you need to be prepared. Get a full medical evaluation. Prove you're of sound mind. I did. Spent 2 days getting poked and prodded and answering questions designed to prove. I knew what day it was. Where I was. Who was president. Like I was the one who needed testing. The results came back clean. Physically healthy. Mentally sharp. No signs of dementia or cognitive decline. Sharper than most women half my age, the doctor said. I kept those documents in a safe deposit box. Along with my mother's Bible and my grandmother's wedding ring. I thought I was ready. Thought I'd protected myself. I had no idea what was coming. It was a Thursday. I remember because Thursdays were delivery day at the store. New inventory. I'd slept poorly. Kept hearing Liam's words. They'll find another way. Kept seeing my mother's face. Mama, who'd worked as a maid her whole life so I could go to college. Who'd died never seeing me succeed. The knock came at 7 a.m. Heavy. Insistent. The kind of knock that says authority. I was still in my robe, my natural hair wrapped in my silk scarf. Coffee halfway to my lips. Mrs. Lewis? Police. Please open the door. My heart stopped. For a second, I was back in 1968. Back when police at the door meant trouble. Meant danger. Meant someone you loved might not come home. I opened it slowly. 2 officers stood there. A man and a woman. Behind them, a man in a white coat carrying a clipboard. And behind him, Rachel. My daughter. With red eyes and perfect makeup. Mrs. Margaret Lewis, the male officer said. White. Young. Probably never had to think about what his skin meant. Yes? We have a court order for immediate psychiatric evaluation. Please come with us. What? No. There's been a mistake. Ma'am, we need you to cooperate. The female officer's voice was kind. Pitying. Black woman. Older. Should have known better. This will be easier if you don't resist. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not sick. Rachel stepped forward. Her performance perfect. Mom, please. I know you're upset with me. But you need help. You've been acting so strange. Paranoid. Forgetting things. That's a lie. I haven't forgotten anything. You forgot Liam's birthday last month. I froze. Had I? His birthday was in October. We'd celebrated, hadn't we? Or had I just planned to and never followed through? No. Wait. His birthday was in September. We'd gone to dinner. Pizza. His favorite. Extra cheese. But the doubt had been planted. And I saw it work on the office's faces. The way they looked at me. The confused old black woman who couldn't remember her own grandson's birthday. She's confused, Rachel said softly. Oscar-worthy. She's been like this for weeks. Forgetting appointments. Getting lost. I'm terrified she'll hurt herself. I am not confused, but my voice sounded shrill. Hysterical. Exactly how someone unstable would sound. Exactly how they expected me to sound. The angry black woman. Out of control. The man in the white coat spoke. Mrs. Lewis, I'm Drive Grant from Maplewood Haven. We just need you to come with us for an evaluation. 48 hours. Then, if you're fine, you go home. And if I refuse? The court order allows for involuntary commitment if necessary. You can't do this. I have rights. But even as I said it, I knew. Black folks and rights. That's always been complicated. Mom. Rachel's voice broke. Perfect timing. Please don't make them force you. Please just go. For me. For Liam. Liam. They were using my grandson against me. Using my love as a weapon. I looked at the officers. At the doctor. At my daughter. I had no choice. If I resisted, they'd wrestle me to the ground. Put me in handcuffs. Make me look exactly as crazy as they claimed. Better to go with dignity. I need to get dressed. We'll wait here, the officer said. They didn't let me close the bedroom door all the way. Didn't trust me alone. Like I might what? Escape through the window? Take pills? I dressed with shaking hands. Jeans. A sweater. Shoes I could walk in if I needed to run. I grabbed my phone. Texted Helen, they're taking me. Maplewood Haven. Help. Rachel appeared in the doorway. You won't need your phone, Mom. They don't allow them at the facility. She held out her hand. Manicured. Perfect. The hand I'd held when she took her first steps. I wanted to throw the phone at her. Wanted to scream. Instead, I placed it in her palm. Rachel, I whispered, please don't do this. For just a second, something flickered in her eyes. Guilt? Regret? Pain? Then it was gone, replaced by that cold mask. It's for your own good, Mom. They put me in the back of an unmarked van. Not a police car. Something worse. Something that said I wasn't a criminal, just broken. We drove for 40 minutes. Through suburbs where every house looked the same. Past fields. Into a part of the county I didn't recognize. Where no one would know to look for me. Maplewood Haven sat at the end of a long driveway. It looked like a resort. Gardens. Modern architecture. A fountain in front. Pretty cage for the inconvenient. But the windows had bars. Decorative, but bars nonetheless. They processed me like inventory. Took my clothes. Gave me scrubs. Took my watch. My earrings. My wedding ring. You'll get it back when you leave, a nurse said. Young. Bored. Black girl who should have known better. When will that be? That's up to the doctors. They put me in a room. Small. Clean. A bed. A chair. A window that didn't open. The door locked from the outside. I sat on the bed and tried not to cry. Tried not to think about what Rachel was doing at my house right now. What documents she was finding. What she was signing in my name. The bookstore. My sanctuary. My dream. Gone. Then I heard a voice. Soft. From the next room. First time? What? Is this your first time in a place like this? I moved to the wall. There was a vent. The voice came through it. Yes, I said. Me too. 3 months ago, my son put me here. Said I was losing my mind. Wanted my inheritance. My breath caught. How long are you here for? A pause. Long. Heavy. As long as he keeps paying. That's when I understood. This wasn't a 48-hour evaluation. This was a prison, and they weren't planning to let me out. The first night, I didn't sleep. I lay on that thin mattress. And stared at the ceiling and listened to the sounds of the facility. Footsteps in the hallway, muffled crying from other rooms. The click of locks, the beep of security systems. A prison by any other name. Morning came with a bright light flicked on at 6 a.m. A different nurse appeared, older, tired eyes, black woman, maybe 50. Medication time. I don't take medication. You do now. Doctor's orders. She held out a small paper cup with 2 pills. One white, one blue. What are they? Something to help you relax. I don't need to relax. I need a phone call. I need my lawyer. You can discuss that with Dr. Sterling during your evaluation. When will that be? When he has time. She stood there, waiting. I realized she wasn't leaving until I took the pills. I put them in my mouth. drank the water. She watched my throat to make sure I swallowed. The moment she left, I spit them into my hand. Hid them under the mattress. If they wanted to drug me into compliance, they'd have to try harder. Breakfast was brought on a tray. Oatmeal, toast, juice. I couldn't eat. My stomach was a knot. At 10 a.m., I was allowed into the common room. It was designed to look cheerful. Soft colors, comfortable chairs, a TV playing morning shows nobody watched. About a dozen people sat around. Some staring at nothing, some talking to themselves. Some looked perfectly normal, just trapped. Like me, most were black or brown. I noticed that immediately. Old black and brown folks. Inconvenient, expensive, warehoused. An elderly woman sat by the window. White woman, white hair pulled back, delicate features. She looked up when I entered. You're new. I sat beside her. Is it that obvious? You still have fight in your eyes. Give it a few weeks. They'll medicate that away. I'm Margaret. Dorothy. Dorothy Grant. She smiled. Former high school English teacher. 33 years. You? I run a bookstore. Ran, she corrected gently. Past tense. Once you're in here, everything is past tense. How long have you been here? 7 months. My nephew needed money for his business. Decided I was better off somewhere safe. The judge agreed. Now I'm safe. And he's selling my house. Her words were matter of fact. Resigned. It broke my heart. There has to be a way out, I said. Oh, there is. You play along. Take the meds. Smile at the doctors. Tell them what they want to hear. Eventually, they get bored and look for easier money. How long does that take? Depends how deep your family's pockets are. A young nurse walked by. Mid-30s, dark hair, white girl, but something different about her eyes. Sharp, aware, like she actually saw us. That's Angela, Dorothy whispered. She's one of the good ones. The day dragged. Lunch. More medication I pretended to take. A therapy session with a counselor who asked me how I felt. And wrote down everything I said like evidence. I learned quickly everything was evidence. Every word, every emotion, every reaction. If you cried, you were depressed. If you didn't cry, you were in denial. If you argued, you were combative. If you agreed, you were unstable and suggestible. You couldn't win. That evening, I met Nurse Angela officially. She came to check my vitals. Took my blood pressure, my temperature. Then she glanced at the door and lowered her voice. I know you're not taking your medication. My heart raced. It's okay. I'm not going to report you. She met my eyes. Blue eyes. Honest. But you need to be careful. Doctor, Sterling isn't stupid. And if he realizes you're coherent enough to resist, he'll switch you to injections. Why are you telling me this? Because I've seen too many people like you. Sharp. Aware. Inconvenient to their families. And I'm tired of watching them turn into vegetables. She pulled a folded piece of paper from her pocket. The pills you're hiding. Flush them. Don't keep them under your mattress. They check. How did you? I've worked here 3 years. I know all the tricks. She pressed the paper into my hand. These are the people who've been here more than 6 months. And how much their families are paying to keep them here. I unfolded it later, when I was alone. 23 names. Dorothy's, mine, others I'd seen in the common room. The amounts made me sick. Thousands of dollars a month. To keep us locked away. Out of sight, out of mind. At the bottom, Angela had written, Drive. Sterling owns this place. He has connections to judges. He makes problems disappear. I understood then. This wasn't just unethical. It was criminal. And I was in the middle of it. Just another black woman nobody would believe. Over the next week, I became a different kind of prisoner. Not the kind who waits for rescue. The kind who plans escape. Dorothy became my ally, my sister in this nightmare. She introduced me to others who still had their minds. Who'd been warehoused here because they were inconvenient. There was Marcus, 62, black man whose daughter wanted his life insurance. There was Carmen, 70, Latina whose son wanted her estate. There was James, 68, black man whose wife wanted to remarry. We were all someone's problem. Someone's obstacle. Someone's ATM. And Dr. Sterling was making a fortune solving these problems. Angela brought me more documents. Printouts she smuggled out of the office. Billing records. Court orders. Communications between Drive, Sterling and families. Why are you doing this? I asked her one night. My grandmother, she said quietly. She died in a place like this. Polish immigrant, spoke broken English, made her easy to dismiss. I couldn't help her. Maybe I can help you. I needed to get this evidence out. But how? They monitored everything, searched our rooms randomly, controlled all communication with the outside world. Then I remembered the photo. When they'd processed me, they'd taken my personal items. But they'd left one thing, a framed photo of Robert I'd had in my bag. It sat on my nightstand. My Robert, my love, looking at me with those eyes that had seen me through everything. The frame was thick, wooden, decorative, and hollow. I worked late at night. Used a nail file Dorothy had smuggled from the craft room. Carefully pried open the back of the frame. Inside, I hid everything. The documents Angela gave me. The names, the amounts, the court orders with forged signatures. Then I sealed it back up. To anyone looking, it was just a grieving widow's comfort object. But it was evidence, proof, a weapon. Now I just needed to get it to Helen, my lawyer, my friend. Angela had an idea. Visitors' Day is next week. Your daughter requested to visit. No, the word came out hard. I don't want to see her. You should. Let her think she's winning. Let her think you're broken. Then when she's satisfied, she'll let someone else visit. Someone you actually trust. It was smart. But God, the thought of seeing Rachel's face. Of pretending to be the woman she wanted me to be. The compliant black woman. The grateful mother. The one who knew her place. Can I do it? I asked Dorothy. Can you lie to your daughter's face? Margaret, you're going to have to do more than that. You're going to have to convince her you're giving up. I've been fighting my whole life, I said. I don't know how to stop. Then pretend. Your ancestors didn't survive by always fighting. Sometimes they survived by seeming to submit. She was right. Survival takes many forms. Rachel came on a Tuesday. They let us meet in the visitors' room. Cheerful paint, comfortable chairs, cameras in the corners. She looked thinner, tired. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for her. Then I remembered why I was here. Hi, Mom. She sat across from me. Didn't touch me. Didn't hug me. Like I might be contagious. Rachel, how are you feeling? Like I'm in prison. Like my own daughter betrayed me. Like I want to scream and cry and curse and pray all at once. Tired, I said instead. Let my shoulders slump. Made my voice small. Confused. I saw the relief in her eyes. The satisfaction. The doctors say you're improving. Taking your medication. Cooperating. I let my eyes well up. Nodded. Played the part. I think maybe I needed this. The rest. Time to think. I'm glad you're seeing that. The store. I let my voice break. Let a tear fall. Maybe you were right. Maybe it was too much. Maybe I was holding on to something that wasn't mine to keep. She leaned forward, victory in her eyes. Mom, I'm so glad you're saying this. Once you're out and you will get out, we can make arrangements. Find you a nice quiet place to live. Somewhere you don't have to worry about anything. A home. She meant a home. Somewhere she could park me and forget about me. Like an old car that doesn't run anymore. Okay, I whispered. Okay, I'll sign. Whatever you need. I just want this to be over. I just want to go home. Her smile was radiant, victorious, like she'd won something. She had no idea she'd already lost. I'm so relieved, Mom. I've been so worried. She stood. I'll talk to the doctors. We'll get you out soon. She left without saying goodbye. I sat there shaking, not from fear, from rage, from grief, from the weight of betrayal. But I'd done it. I'd convinced her. Now she'd lower her guard. 2 days later, Angela came to my room. You have a visitor. Helen Moore. Your lawyer? Thank God. Thank you, Jesus. Helen looked older. But then, so did I. They brought us to the same visitors' room. The same cameras. We had to be careful. Margaret. She hugged me, tight. And in that hug, she whispered, I got your text. Before they took your phone. I've been fighting to see you. We sat, made small talk for the cameras. How was I feeling? Was I being treated well? Then I did it, casually, naturally, the way Mama taught me to hide things in plain sight. The photo on my nightstand. Of Robert. Could you take it with you? I think it makes me too sad. Looking at it every day. Looking at what I lost. Helen's eyes sharpened. She understood. Smart girl. Always had been. Of course. If you're sure? I'm sure. A nurse brought the photo. Helen held it like it was precious. Like it held treasure. Because it did. It held everything. I'll keep it safe, she said. Looking right at me. Making a promise. I promise. 3 days later, all hell broke loose. It started with sirens. Police cars. Unmarked vehicles. They came at dawn. We heard shouting. Doctor. Sterling's voice, usually so smooth, now panicked. Doors slamming. People running. Angela appeared in my doorway. Grinning like Christmas morning. Get dressed. Real clothes. You're leaving. What's happening? Your lawyer. She was practically dancing. She didn't waste time. Helen had taken the evidence straight to the state attorney general. The documents, the billing records, the forged court orders. The list of names. The amounts. Black and brown bodies being warehoused for profit. They'd gotten warrants. For Maplewood Haven. For Dr. Sterling's files. For everything. By noon, we were being processed out. All of us. 23 patients who'd been held illegally. Police were everywhere. Taking statements. Gathering evidence. Arresting staff who'd known and done nothing. Dr. Sterling was led out in handcuffs. He saw me as he passed. His face was rage. I smiled. Big. Wide. The kind of smile my grandmother used to give white folks. Who thought they'd won. They'd put me in hell. I was walking him out of it. Helen was waiting for me outside. Standing by her car in the sunshine. Beautiful, free sunshine. I walked toward her. My legs shaky. My eyes full of tears. But I walked. Free.